Hello everyone, Ladislas Moise from thewanderinginvestor.com. So today I'm in Panama City and we're gonna do a quick video and a quick case study on my favorite neighborhood here in Panama City, Casco Viejo, which is the old town in what is a pretty modern city like you can see here in the background. But Casco Viejo is very interesting from a real estate point of view because it is historical. So it's the only place in the city where you have beautiful historical churches and little plazas and historical real estate. So from that point of view, I like it a lot. And today we are with my friend Francisco. He works for an agency that I collaborate with here in Panama City. And he's gonna show us a listing that he has just a 2-minute walk away from here. We're gonna go to the apartment, we're gonna go inside, and most importantly, we're gonna run all of the numbers.
Hey everybody, so Francisco here. Happy to meet all of you. We're gonna go check out an apartment we have for sale and for rent here in Casco. So let's go check it out.
It's beautiful here. I really like it. I was staying for a week here in Panama City on this trip, and I stayed here in this neighborhood. I got an Airbnb. And Francisco, you live here full time, right?
That's right. Been living here for a little over a year and a half. And it's just such a walkable place in Panama City. So it's a wonderful place to be. You have cafes, bars, restaurants, stores, so close to wherever you live in here.
Yeah, because people need to understand this about Panama City. In many ways, it's like a big American city. People just drive around everywhere unless they don't have money. But if you have money, you drive around everywhere, and there's quite a lot of traffic. And this neighborhood is one of the few neighborhoods that offers walkability. There are a few others, but this one, it's really walkability and a beautiful setting, which the others don't offer. So can you tell us about this?
So this is a new hotel that just opened over here. It's called Sofitel. It's from a French hotel company. And they opened about 3 or 4 days ago. So this is just gonna add value to this whole area. And to be clear, there's 2 parts to Casco Antiguo. There's kind of like the part which is more loud and touristy in the sense that there's a lot of clubs and there's more noise. Right now we're in the quiet part of Casco. So this is much more residential in the sense that everything has to close down by midnight. So after midnight, it's just a nice quiet part of town, really good for people to just rent, stay here long-term or short-term.
Yeah, and there are these little promenades here along the water. There's some sea views. We'll see some sea views from the apartment. And to Francisco's point, what's important for people to understand when they make a real estate investment here in Casco Viejo is that until, like 15 years ago, this place was really ghetto. It was really bad.
Yeah.
So you can see here how these buildings are kind of dilapidated and there are ruins, and there are whole little parts within Casco Viejo where it's still quite, I don't like to use the term ghetto, but I'll use it. They're quite ghetto with a lot of underprivileged people, which historically wasn't very safe, but they've really cleaned it up. And now it's very gentrified, and it's gentrifying essentially every month. There's a new restaurant, a new cafe. So even though there's a Sofitel, a brand new Sofitel, high-end, clearly with like views of the whole bay and all that, right here, you can still see these dilapidated buildings here. So, gentrification clearly is happening at a fast pace. Down there's a little park, which is really cute with some monuments, nice views. And the apartment that we're gonna go see is right here. So very central. So here you can see on the map where exactly we are.
That's right. Let's check it out.
So let's have a look at the apartment. So it's a 1-bedroom and 1.5 bathroom. Again, this is not a real estate channel in terms of showing lifestyle property. The goal is to go through all of the rental yield / capitalization rates for real estate here in Casco Viejo in Panama City. So this is what the apartment looks like. So it's bright. I like it a lot. Very high ceilings. This is typical of historical buildings, unlike nowadays where developers always try to gain every inch and centimeter. And a nice balcony with a sea view, right? And this apartment is going for $250,000 US asking price. So 85 square meters. So we're looking at less than $3,000 per square meter. In square feet, that's about $275 per square foot. And we can go upstairs. So Francisco, because in a lot of countries people do this, they add a mezzanine, but then it's not legalized. But here, everything was legalized, correct?
That's correct. Everything was included in the updated registry.
Cool, so the registry was updated, so this is legal, which is important, which is why we're getting to 85 square meters, or else we wouldn't have that. So bedroom. The ceiling is a bit low, but I'm standing straight right now, and I'm like 6'3", 6'4", 1.90 meters, so, you know, for most people, it's fine. All right, cool, bathroom. All right, nothing much to say here. Probably needs a bit of renovation. And there's a walk-in closet. Okay, cool, so it gives us an idea of the space. Now let's do the number crunching, because that is ultimately what is interesting.
That's right.
Great, Francisco, thank you. So let's go through all of the calculations, all of the numbers for investors. So you were saying asking price $250,000.
That's right.
So let's run with the assumption that the investor buys at this price without negotiating. Obviously, that's a very conservative way of doing things. What would be the monthly rental income for this property?
All right, so the rental price here as is, right, it's $250,000 asking price. As is, the rental price here could be about $1,100 a month.
$1,100 a month. What about
That's
the
right.
occupancy rates?
You can include in the calculation like 1 month vacancy while you change between one renter and the next. So at 11 months, that would be $12,100 rental income per year.
Cool. So you not only help people find property, but you also do the management, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Great. What's your fee for the management?
So property management is a standard 10% fee. There's a 7% service charge as well on that, tax.
Okay.
So our monthly property management fee on this would be about $117.
Great. So 10.7% rental management. What about HOA, so homeowners association / common charges?
HOA fees here is $116.24.
And property tax?
Property tax is very low. It's around $300 a year.
All right, so $300 a year. Property tax for such an apartment in Panama is objectively a global city, financially speaking, is quite affordable to say the least.
That's right.
And maintenance, I saw $500 in there.
Yeah, just for like things that might happen, if you need to fix something or do any kind of work over here, about $500 in the year.
Cool, so you get down to a net capitalization rate, a net rental yield of how much for this apartment here in Casco Viejo?
It would be 3.4% net yield.
Cool, okay. So look, is 3.4% very attractive? No, there are markets with more attractive numbers for sure, but what Panama offers is unique. So when you come here, if you want residency in Panama, which is an amazing plan B, not just from a lifestyle point of view, but also from a safety point of view and from a tax point of view, if you structure things correctly, you can end up paying 0% taxes. Then $200,000 in real estate for people that are part of the list of Friendly Nations visa gets you residency here in Panama. You don't actually even need to live here. You can just buy the real estate, rent it out, and you have this residency for yourself for one generation above, so your dependent parents and also your dependent children, and then you just need to show up once every 2 years to keep it active. And in the meantime, you have real estate that's generating a bit of income, but most importantly, why real estate here in Casco Viejo specifically, of all the neighborhoods in Panama City, personally it's my favorite because of the historical aspect. When you go into the other parts of Panama City, it's either old and not nice, or new, nice, but probably within 15 years from now will not be that nice anymore. So if you plan on making such an investment in a passive way, then Casco Viejo is the closest thing to a gold bar that you can get in Panama City in terms of real estate, and also it's quite liquid. It's a lot more liquid than a lot of the other properties in the city. So I find this, I think that is the value proposition of investing in real estate here in Casco Viejo. It's safety, it's capital preservation, and some element of yield, and you get the residency for the whole family, essentially. So that really is the core of the value proposition.
Also, if I may, just for people that are not from the list of friendly nations, the investment is $300,000, and you can get your permanent residency in about 30 to 45 days.
True. So there's a difference between the friendly nations visa, which means that you initially get temporary residency for 2 years, then you get permanent residency, and it takes about 3 trips to Panama to get the permanent residency. Actually, for anyone, so whether on the friendly nations list or not, if you invest $300,000 in real estate, you can get it immediately in 1 trip. So that's also worth it. This property, though, would be more for the friendly nations visa. But then again, there are other properties that are above the $300,000 and where the numbers are roughly similar.
Correct.
So we were looking, I mean, just going around this property, it feels like it can be optimized.
Yeah.
So what would you recommend as an investment, essentially as the investment advisor? If I come to you, I want to buy this apartment, how can I make this asset sweat more?
Yeah, so we ran another scenario as well, which is investing into the apartment and, like you said, optimizing it to increase the rental yield. So we calculated around $15,000 worth of work in the apartment to get it to that level, with some minimal changes, some furniture, different curtains, things like that.
So I think this is important. I mean, ultimately, Casco Viejo is premium, and this apartment is not premium. So to your point, you know, the floor needs to be polished because it's a beautiful wooden floor. You don't need to change it, you just need to polish it, kind of repaint. These curtains are absolutely awful. I would redo the kitchen entirely. The bathrooms, I would just change the furniture inside the bathrooms and then, you know, put a nice TV, etc. Make it a bit nicer.
That's right.
You estimated how much for the work?
$15,000.
$15,000. So total investment?
So with that, with a little bit of love and care, the full investment would be $265,000, but you can increase the rental price from $1,100 a month to $1,350.
Cool.
Which would give you, just following the same numbers that we used to calculate the previous net yield, that would be $14,850 per year for rental income. The property management obviously is based on the rental income, so it would be a little bit higher, about $1,588.95 per year, right? And the rest of the items stay exactly the same. So with that little extra investment, you would be getting a net $11,066 per year, which gives you a 4.2% yield.
Cool. So 4.2% net yield after all expenses. In terms of taxes, it's possible to structure things in Panama to pay very little in taxes, if anything at all.
That's right.
So that's not really a big line item at all. But again, it's an interesting value proposition. So this is for either, I would say, single people who want to move to Panama, who work online, who would actually live in the apartment because all the clubs, all the bars are a 10-minute walk away, which is really fun. A lot of restaurants around too. But for other people, this is really a pure investment. I think families, there are other neighborhoods that are probably better for families with all the schools and better amenities, etc.
Yeah.
So that would be a better fit. But just from a pure investment point of view, I feel that this is the best neighborhood to invest in Panama City.
And you've seen it as we've been walking around as well. It's super busy.
Yeah.
Right. It's very busy. There's a lot of tourists here. It's very sought after, like you said. People that just work online, work from home. People from NGOs. There's a lot of them here. There's a big headquarter not too far away from here in the City of Knowledge. So it's very much preferred for that kind of client.
Airbnb is a possibility. It's a bit of a gray zone. I don't want to really go into this, but in this neighborhood, this is not a recommendation, but many people seem to be doing Airbnb. Generally, your net yield would go up by approximately 30% or so, but just be aware that you'd be entering a little bit of a gray zone. There is enough demand for long-term rentals in Panama City. A lot of people are moving here. A lot of people from North America and also from Europe, they're attracted by the lifestyle, by the weather, by the connectivity of Panama City. It's very well connected to everywhere in the world. And also, if you live here, if you become a tax resident of Panama and you structure things properly, there are 0% taxes on overseas income, which is very, very attractive, especially for online entrepreneurs.
That's correct. That's correct. And also, just to go back on the yields that we presented, to be clear, this is a very conservative scenarios, because 250,000, which is the base that we used, is asking price. So there is a margin of negotiation there, which would obviously just go straight to your bottom line and increase that yield.
Cool. Thank you, Francisco. So if you want to make a real estate investment in Panama City, whether for residency or whether just as a pure investment to have money stashed away in a safe haven, then do get in touch with Francisco. There's his email below. There's also a contact form, and Francisco or someone from his agency will get back to you. If you want more information on how to obtain residency in Panama, there are a few links below. There are many ways to obtain residency. Real estate is only one of the ways. It's the most convenient way. It's one of the safest ways, but there are also other options to obtain residency.
Yeah,
Right?
and we're more than happy to help with real estate and the residency aspect, whichever way you decide to do it. And another thing to keep in mind about like just stashing your money here, it's a dollarized economy. So you don't have to worry about depreciation or anything, which I'm sure most people are aware of, but just to leave it very clear.
Yeah, so when you invest in Panama, as things stand, you're investing in United States dollars, which in a world of increased volatility and issues, though the dollar is far from perfect, we all agree, it's the better option amongst a lot of bad options.
That's correct.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can go to my website, thewanderinginvestor.com, and sign up to the private list. It's entirely free. This way you will be getting insider information as I travel around the world looking for opportunities. Lastly, feel free to follow me on Instagram at The Wandering Investor. I look forward to hearing from you.